Welcome to Creative Imperfections, the podcast where perfection is overrated and messy magic gets the spotlight. I'm so glad you're here. Rejection. There's a certain kind of rejection that creatives know all too well. And it's not the loud, obvious kind. It's the email that flat out says no, the audition that gets passed on, the pitch that doesn't land. Those sting. But at least those rejections give you something to react to. At least they can name what's happening. The harder rejection, the one that actually carves into you, is the silent kind. The kind where you put work into the world and hear nothing. Where you launch something and sales don't come. Where you post and no one responds. Where you audition and it disappears into the black hole, where you feel like you're doing your part, showing up, taking swings, but the universe is somehow on mute. That silence can feel so personal. It can feel like the world just looked at you and shrugged. But here's the truth we don't talk about enough. Silence is not a verdict. Silence is not a character assessment. Silence is not proof that you're invisible or unworthy or foolish for trying. Silence is often just silence. People are busy. Algorithms are weird. Buyers have deadlines. Auditions get lost in piles. Your thing might not have landed on the right desk at the right time yet. Creative work moves through the world in ways we don't always see. But when you're the one doing the putting out there, it's really easy to turn that quiet into a story about yourself, a story about not being good enough, not being seen, not being wanted. Let's pause that story for a moment. Every creative career, every single one, has long pockets of quiet. Sometimes silence is actually the season where your resilience is being built, the part of the journey where your roots grow deeper, not wider. Doesn't feel glamorous. It doesn't feel inspiring at all. It feels like you're talking into a void, hoping someone, anyone, might be listening. But resilience isn't built when people cheer for you. Resilience is built when there's no audience at all. When you keep going, even though no one is clapping. And here's something I see all the time, both in my work and my own life. Quiet seasons don't mean nothing is happening. Quiet seasons mean things are happening underground, under the surface, behind the scenes. Just maybe not at the pace or visibility your heart wishes it would. Think of artists who worked for years before anyone cared. Think of the books that were written long before they were read. Think of the auditions that felt like they floated into space but later connected dots you didn't even know were being drawn. Your work has a longer lifespan than your fear does. Now, let's talk about that sting, because it does sting, and you're allowed to feel that. Putting creative work out into the world is vulnerable, it's brave, and silence can feel like betrayal. But you can't interpret silence as failure. You can only interpret silence as information that teaches you how to keep going. You cannot let silence stop you. You cannot tie your worth to the volume of response. You cannot hinge your identity on whether today is the day someone finally notices. Your voice matters even when no one replies. Your work matters even when no one buys it. Your growth matters even when no one sees it happening. And I promise you this, one day the people who were silent will pretend they always believed in you. Not because they're fake, because sometimes people don't recognize brilliance until it's undeniable. So what do you do with the quiet? You honor it. You use it. You let it build muscle you didn't know you had. You create again. You try again. You show up again. Because your creative journey isn't measured by applause. It's measured by your willingness to keep walking even when the path feels empty. Silence is not rejection. Silence is a season, and seasons don't last forever. Keep putting your work into the world. Keep trusting that it will land where it needs to land. Keep reminding yourself that the quiet isn't proof that you're failing. It's proof that you're brave enough to keep going without guarantees. And that is resilience at its finest. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Creative Imperfections. If you have a friend who could use this advice right now, please feel free to share this with them and make sure you subscribe.